Hey, you know we fuck with everything. I don't need no more to jump. No, you know I fuck with it. I don't need no more. With the Migos and right. Art trap. Yeah. 20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jugs like a Julio art trap. New cutter for a template. In the backyard on a flat door. Tryna get a line on straight cash. Can't record cause a Mac broke. Started from the bottom with a old day. Make a beat, get a rent check. Sure they do need a whip and a gold check. But it's harder when the water in a ring neck.
Make us some money, do for your family, get you a diamond.
What next?
Wait on it, fuck is you doing?
20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jigging like a Julio art trap. On the line, connect now. Need the whole thing and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Yeah. I need the whole thing and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Fuck is you dumb? 20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jigging like a Julio art trap. On the line, connect now. I need the whole thing and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Cause you dumb.
Yeah. Fuck is you dumb?
Cause you dumb.
Fuck is you dumb? Cause you dumb.
Yeah. I'm the nigga with the juice. I'm the nigga with the pills and the trees and the loose. I'm the nigga with the trip. I'm the nigga with the stoners and the rollers and the hippies. I'm the nigga with the squad. I'm the nigga with the drillers and the killers and the mob. I'm the nigga on the guard. I'm the nigga that you call when you wanna do the job. 16, that's a whole thing. That's a 36, that's a grip of the whole thing. Good credit on the prepaid. Keep a flip phone, hit a nigga with a nose ring. I'm the nigga with the boost. Hit him with a shell case for his watch, that's a G-shot. Not a nigga on the loose. 3 shots to the head, drug life, nigga, 2 5. Fuck is you doing? Bitches, they want me, they think they know. They tell me I'm gone. My name ain't they buzzing, they know that I'm gone.
Fuck is you doing?
20 keys to the same old. Nigga trade his soul for a bankroll. It's your brain on hard trap. Jigging on the corner to the case closed.
20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jigging like a Julio art trap. On the line, connect now. Need the whole thing and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Yeah. I need the whole thing and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Fuck is you dumb? 20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jigging like a Julio art trap. On the line, connect now. I need the whole thing and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Cause you dumb.
Fuck is you dumb?
Cause you dumb.
Fuck is you dumb? Cause you dumb.
Yeah.
Scotty with BB with them swishes. I understand what you take. I understand what you take. Come and go, and I'll get you with love. Now the devil wears Prada. Y'all know the devil's roll, what is it, power?
don't need no more to jump. No, you know I fuck with it. I don't need no more. With the Migos and Rhythm. Art trap. Yeah. 20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jug like a Julio art trap. New cutter for a template. In the backyard on a flat though. Tryna get a line on straight cash. Can't record cause the Mac broke. Started from the bottom with a old day. Make a beat, get a rent check. Sure they do need a whip and a go check. But it's harder when the water in the ring neck.
Make us some money, do for your family, get you a diamond.
What next?
Wait on it, fuck is you doing?
20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jugging like a Julio art trap. On the line, connect now. Need the whole thing, and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Yeah. I need the whole thing, and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Fuck is you dumb? 20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jugging like a Julio art trap. On the line, connect now. I need the whole thing, and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Cause you dumb.
Yeah.
Cause you dumb. Cause you dumb. Cause you dumb.
Yeah. I'm the nigga with the juice. I'm the nigga with the pills and the trees and the loose. I'm the nigga with the trip. I'm the nigga with the stoners and the rollers and the hippies. I'm the nigga with the squad. I'm the nigga with the drillers and the killers and the mob. I'm the nigga on the god. I'm the nigga that you call when you wanna do the job. 16, that's a whole thing. That's a 36, that's a grip for the whole thing. Good credit on the prepaid. Keep a flip phone, hit a nigga with a nose ring. I'm the nigga with the boost. Hit him with a shell case for his watch, that's a G-shot. Not a nigga on the loose. 3 shots to the head, thug life, nigga, 2 5. Fuck is you doing? Bitches, they want me, they know. They tell me I'm gone. My name ain't buzzing, they know that I'm gone.
Fuck is you doing?
20 keys to the same old. Nigga trade his soul for a bankroll. It's your brain on heart trap. Jugging on the corner till the case closed.
20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jugging like a Julio art trap. On the line, connect now. Need the whole thing, and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Yeah. I need the whole thing, and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Fuck is you dumb? 20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jugging like a Julio art trap. On the line, connect now. I need the whole thing, and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Cause you dumb. Cause you dumb. Cause you dumb. Cause you dumb. Yeah.
Golly with BB with them swishes. Get a line.
What's up, Coldie?
How you doing?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. I did hear you, but now I don't hear you.
How about now?
Yeah.
Hey, is it too loud?
What's going on?
Nothing much, man. It's been a minute since I've seen you.
Yeah. What was it, Austin?
Yeah, Consensus Life.
Yeah, that was a
Real
whole,
techie.
yeah, tech world for sure.
How have you been?
I've been good. Yeah, I've been trudging away. Just head down, grinding on a couple projects, and um, just doing the artist life. Doing family, doing art, doing chores around the house. All the things that
Yeah.
are life.
Let me just this is the first artist to artist conversation. I'm gonna do a bunch of these. I just feel like there's a lot of fucking noise in the space with meme coins and whatever else. People saying they're building, but they're like twiddling their thumbs like this.
Yeah.
And we had the pleasure of speaking at a very loud bar in Austin, Texas during Consensus. And it was like the first time I think we got to like see each other and be like, oh, okay, I vibe with this guy. He really loves the things that he's doing. And like you've been around, like I watched some of your interviews, been around since X Copy, when people were just kind of very disparate and like fragmented in regards to like communication, and like it wasn't for the money, right? It was like more so like it was this idea of the future and like what it can be potentially. And just like where you started from like very analog type like lenticular work and doing really analog type like your 3D perspective collage stuff. So really want to get into that. But let me just everybody, whoever is tuned in, I have no idea. This is my first time using Restream, my first time trying to do this stuff on X Live. Thanks for whoever's tuning in. This is Coldie, one of the coldest artists in blockchain technology and also traditional artists. And this just give us an inside scoop on artists that are really pushing the boundaries of blockchain technology and who are here regardless if the market is in a bear or bull, because it doesn't matter. We got to create. So Coldie, man, is Coldie your government given name, or I don't want to like give away your real name, but is Coldie like where did that come from?
So I mean, it's not hard to look up who I am, sadly. Coldie is a nickname that I got based on my last name, which is Colditz. It's a very German name. And so it was in Little League. I think it was call it sixth grade, and we were all just like around the doing batting practice. We're all just yucking it up, and
Yeah.
they're looking around. There was a guy. He's still a buddy of mine. Brown was his last name. They're like, "Oh, your name is Brownie." He's like, "Okay, like I guess that works." And then they like looked at me. They're like, "Wait, Coldie, that totally works. So you're Brownie and you're Coldie." I was like, "Whoa, like that's better than all the awful names I'd gotten growing up around my last name." So I was like, "Yeah, man, like that's cool." So literally from that day on, um, like everybody, that's just what everybody called me. Like the
Oh wow.
teachers at school, I even had a friend in high school that it was like our senior year, and we were talking, and it was at the lunch tables, and someone was like, "Hey Ryan," I turned around. That's my government name, so I fully doxed myself. Um, and I turned around. I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And the guy stopped. He's like, "Whoa, wait! I thought your real name was Coldie because that's all I've ever heard anybody call you." So it's pretty funny. I would say more people know me as Coldie than not.
Okay, I dig it. Does your mom call you Coldie?
No, they didn't. No, no, that's actually one of the few people that did not call me Coldie.
So what was it the thing like because I learned that you like got into like it's called stereoscopic 3D art through like a elderly group and they embraced you
Yeah.
as one of their own like because you were vibrant and young and it's like okay it can't stop and end with us, let's pass this over. So going from like analog stuff, what was the thing that was like that carrot that got you into crypto or to blockchain technology? Like what was that thing that gave you conviction?
I mean, I was always doing the stereo stuff. I was making, for people who don't know, stereoscopic is basically like if you put on 3D glasses or any type of, I mean, they got virtual reality. I mean, it's all, if whenever there's two camera angles and then you look at it and gives perspective and a depth, just like our eyes give us depth. I create that illusion with art. And it always
Mm,
just fascinated me, right? It was just weird and techie, and it was just a fun place to dabble that nobody else like. It was just this weird little place I could play by myself, and no one really like was interested in that stuff. So yeah, I was creating lenticulars, which is 3D, a 3D print with a lens on it that pops out at you, so it gives you depth. Yeah,
you
there you
can
go.
you can see what I'm sharing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like this Vitalik piece.
Yep. So I was just making those of like UFOs and whatever I was like into doing collage stuff. And it was, I'd found, let's see, just go back on memory lane. So 2017, I was just listening to some podcasts about like money, just because I went to art school. I don't know shit about money. And I was like, I just want to find out what life is about. I don't have any money, but I'd like to know what money is about. So I was like learning about precious metals and like what is
Mm.
gold, what is, silver, what is fiat currency, what are all these things that we have in our life? And I understood the gold and silver point. I was like, okay, hedge against
Yeah.
inflation. It's a real metal, whatever, all those things. And then along the way, one of the guests was talking about Bitcoin and crypto, and I had heard very little of it up until that point. And I was like, wow, like it clicked. And in that context, I was like, oh, like digital gold or digital,
Mm.
digital value. And I was into like Sim City, like building cities and doing
Roller
the
Coaster Tycoon
sim
was me.
roller coaster tycoon. I lost full summers. I lost full summers to that game.
Same.
Um, but they were all formidable building blocks
Mm.
for me to understand the digital world.
Yeah.
And when I heard this about Bitcoin, I was like, "Oh man, that sounds like a thing." So
Yeah.
I went on Google, started learning about it, and then after a while, I was like, "Okay, I fuck with this. How can I, help be a part of this huge revolution?"
Yeah.
And I started thinking about it. I was like, "Well, I'm not a I'm not a finance bro. I'm not a coder. I'm not like what I'm things I'm not, but then what am I? I make art." So I typed in blockchain art into Google just to, I don't know, go somewhere.
What year is this?
And that was probably early 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd been through the ICO craze. Like there was a cycle that happened back then. And in 18, I was like, I want to, be a part of this. So I typed in blockchain art, and there was only like, we're talking 5 links. It was like Punks, Dada NYC, which was a collaborative illustration, tokenized
Mm.
artworks, Crypto Kitties, obviously the Rare Pepes. And there was a website called Rare Art Labs, and went to the site, and it was the very first iteration, or one of the first iterations of tokenized art, and they were ERC20 tokens. So this
Mm.
was before 21s, and but there was no difference, right? They didn't. This was what the tech was, and I'm looking at the roster of artists, and I I know at least some names in contemporary art. There's some big names that would pop out, and I'm looking at this list, and I didn't really see anybody that was like a fucking Banksy or anything big. But I was like, wow, a bunch of these people are going for it. They're on the
Yeah.
roster. They've done it. They have things for sale. And I'd been making all this stereoscopic stuff. So I just sent an email to the team, and I was like, hey man, I'd be interested in being considered for your platform. And it wasn't like there was a curation wait list. Like they wrote me back within like a fucking an hour or two. And I always envisioned them being in like a one room apartment or something, like
Yeah.
yelling to their home, like, we got a fucking email, So so they were cool. They're like, yeah, dude, like send us some stuff,
Yeah.
suss it out. And they're like, oh yeah, this shit's cool. Like, go for it. And so I just started, doing some little experiments. I'm like, well, I did a couple different size, an edition of 10, edition of 20, edition of 50. There was no rules. I didn't know
Yeah.
what to do. So I just started
Was the
tokenizing those.
currency ETH at the time? Were you using ETH or
Yeah, it was
okay?
an ETH. Yeah, so it was ETH based. ERC20s were the asset, and again, I didn't know who any of these other artists were, but you take a look back, and it was Xcopy and Hackatow, Max Osiris, Miss Al Simpson, Osanachi. There
Crazy.
was, and I'm remiss to remember everybody. I'm going to forget some big people, but needless to say, there were some people in there that are still and OG goated status
Yeah, no,
that
for
were
sure.
that were
Yeah.
fucking around back then. So we weren't talking, like, Twitter wasn't a thing that I even, like, knew to go to find, crypto art. Like, that didn't exist. Crypto Twitter was not around. So we
Yeah,
were all
yeah.
just in our little silos, and that was the beginning, and I looked at it like an extension of a dating profile. You got
Yeah.
you're going out there trying to meet some people, but why not just make a profile and throw it online and at least get to share your art 24/7 worldwide. That to me was like, if I could share my stuff, that's how you grow. You got to get
No,
out
for
there
sure.
and you got to try. So that's really kind of how it all started.
Do you think like my carrot for crypto was World of Warcraft and like selling gold on eBay, right? And then like I used to design websites for gaming guilds and clans and stuff like pixel art in like
Okay.
2005, 2000. Like that was my carrot to getting into like digital art. And I bought Bitcoin and or Ethereum in 2017, but I wasn't really sure or even aware about the art platform stuff. So that's do you think there's this like you said, like are still OG go to like X copy and yourself included, like you still here damn near like 8 years later. Wow, wait, 2000. Wow, yeah, that's
Yeah.
like so long.
Yeah.
Do you think it's something in regards to people like that feel it not the scavenging for old relic pieces like punks or the first wave of of crypto kitties or like a OG Coldie or OG X copy? Do you think it's something in that, or is it you think because you guys like were the founders of crypto stuff, or you think the art really stands the test of time? Like, do you think it's like really that type of conviction, or more so just like ether rocks? Like people are like, oh my god, it's just pixel art, but then people's like, oh, it's like the Campbell soup can for Andy Warhols, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
or is it because it's first? What do you think? What do you? I mean, you're
You
a good
know,
artist, but you know,
I think that over time, art outweighs time preference.
yeah,
I think that there is definitely something to be said for an earlier minted piece by somebody who continued to create,
yeah,
right? Because there's a lot of people on Rare Art Labs that minted even some really sick stuff. Like I purchased a fair amount of stuff because it was there and it was cheap, and I wanted to just bring a full circle and support. Those people never came back, right?
yeah.
So I think that as a collector, collectors find reasons for value in all different ways.
Mm.
But I do think, and for sure, like um, the early pieces by like a goat, like even like an Osinachi, that's where he started, right? So if you want the Grail Osinachi, then you can get your ERC, the NFTs, the
Yeah.
721s. But if you want the extreme Grails, then you go digging into the ERC 20 bin and you find those. So I think it's a little combination of both.
Did you I definitely agree with that. Because like when I got into the game, shout out to Lady Phoenix who put me on. I'm not sure if you're
Oh
familiar with
yeah.
her, but like
Oh yeah.
uh
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, she told me about it, and then I went on OpenSea and I was like, what is this? This is crazy. It was like 2020, and my mind was like going nuts. And I think it was like X amount of people that were in existence that we could see on like Clubhouse. Were you on Clubhouse?
For a bit, Clubhouse was a little bit much for me. It was it
It
was
was
these
a time.
marathons. I was like,
Yeah,
I
like
can't do that.
10-day rooms.
Yeah, my ADD is way too erratic for that.
How was the like for instance like the relationship building? Because like you said, like some of those OG guys showed up in like high-end auctions, and you like yourself have been in Christie's. Like for a lot of artists, being in like a traditional auction house is like a dream. It's like being in a museum. Like I fucking made it. How you weren't necessarily on Clubhouse or and some of those early conversations weren't being had because everybody was like siloed off. So how important or where did you find the need for relationship building, or did people find you and reach out to you, like send you smoke signals or like a stork, with a little message in a bottle? So how how did you take stuff that like you said, like the type of work you were doing, stereoscopic 3D stuff, wasn't necessarily being in museums and things, and how did you break the mode from relationship building to being in the right rooms to being in the cabal, if you will? How did that happen? Like, what is the importance? Could you just kind of give us like a little framework
Yeah,
to
yeah. I
thinking?
mean,
Yeah.
it was very, very organic because I've never been uh at all into like collusion or backroom deals, and that stuff always was just so off-putting because it's like I'm always merit above, who because
Mm,
I think nepotism and that type of thing, it's very toxic. And so I just got to know my collectors. When I was early minting, there's no price discovery. There was only price discovery back then. We didn't
yeah.
know what stuff was worth, right? So you put something up for a reasonable fee, a price, and if someone likes it and they collect it, then one thing I always, and I still to this day, is um, I like to reach out to collectors and just first of all thank them. Thank you for supporting my art. It helps me, put food on the table, helps me make more art,
Mm,
and through that, you start meeting collectors, and then you start talking about stuff besides the piece they bought. You start talking about, what's your favorite IPA, or what do what's life like in your world. And I've really made some very, very close friends of both collectors and artists, and that is basically like your street team.
yeah.
You got your crew, and they're riding with you. And when you succeed, they're stoked, because maybe they've invested in your art, so they see that being a good investment. Great. But then once you get past that, you actually have people who care about you as a person,
Mm,
and that is the relationship that matters to me, right? Because
yeah.
um, if you're going to keep it strictly in a business sense with a relationship, one thing that has changed over the years is the artist royalties, right?
Oh my
So,
God. Oh my goodness.
and that's like the elephant in the room that nobody really even wants to talk about anymore.
Yep.
And back then, it was coded into super rare, right? So if you sold on super rare and your stuff got resold, you'd get 10% automatically into your account.
Mm.
So, you'd wake up one morning and you open your thing and you got $50 in there. You're like, okay, like let that is like we're getting like, we're getting sushi tonight or something great,
Yeah.
Um, and I bring that up because when the narrative shifted, or there was a change in uh, collectors choosing to do that or not do it, um, secondaries died for everybody. Everyone's
Oh
like, oh
yeah.
shit, I could just OTC trade that, or I could, there's always ways around it.
Yeah.
But what I can say is over the years, the collectors that I've just been friends with, and they've seen, just the passion I have for it. Like, this is my life. I'm not grifting. I literally have to get shit out of my brain. Thank you for looking at my art. And when they resell that, they want me to share in the success of that sale. And it's like a social contract,
Mm.
not a tech contract. And I think that's a big takeaway that I like to get out there, is that even if there's a way around it, there's also a way with it that people who love you and want to share in this, they get a great flip, and they're like, dude, they don't get a great flip unless you continue to be a great artist that produces good art. So, and that's like an educational thing, it's like, how do you think that 1000x? Do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
like, how
Yeah.
do you think that happened? Like, and I'm not a hype guy. So I put my credence on my next piece is better than my last. And
Yeah.
that's the way I roll. And that's just for me. Because if I make the same shit over and over, I might as well quit doing this and go find a desk job and sit doing that, because that's what that is. But if I can fuck around and find out every time, and like
Yeah.
scare myself, like if I'm not on the brink of fucking, sorry, I'm not doing any weird
No,
signs.
no, you
I'm
yeah,
not.
go for it.
I'm
Go
like
ahead,
throwing out
bro.
these like.
Nah, fuck around and found out on the brink.
So fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
And if you're not petrified with what you're making, then you probably haven't gotten to the level of actually making something.
Bro, Kendrick got a line in one of his earlier albums. He said, "I'm at a level where I'm amazing myself."
There you go. That's it. That's art. I
Like, God
mean,
damn. Yeah.
and you
That you
got
could no, go ahead. Go ahead.
you gotta, at least for me, I mean, to each their own. But if I'm not at least scratching that level, then it's played out. It's
Yeah.
like, what's the point? So I think that for me as an artist, continually doing that, it's not a reinvention, it's just an evolution.
Yeah.
And that's pushed me to go back into physical art, because I've been pushing pixels with the NFT world
Yeah.
nonstop, and it doesn't feed the other side of my creative brain. It's pixels and paint, and I'm working with magnets now. Like
Oh shit.
there's things that hit differently that I have to feed. I have to it's like self-soothing. You have to like soothe that side of your creative brain, and then it starts. It's like a feedback loop.
No, I definitely agree. Like you kind of took me down two different routes. Like the painting behind me, I did that when I first moved to LA. And then I have this canvas that's just been sitting here blank as fuck because I've been pushing pixels too. And it
Yep.
doesn't satiate the same things, right?
Yep.
And you kind of take all right. So there's two ways we can go about it, because like even your relationship with your collectors and things, which goes into why you created the Coldie method with the auctions, giving people. Because I had that issue too. Like I released something, I had somebody like in some like Thailand or something that couldn't wake up to get
Yep.
in on the mint or something, and it was over because I was like trying to be all scarce with it and only have it open for like 6 hours, but a motherfucker sleeping for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
so they're like, I missed it, bro. I was asleep. And then like that made me feel away. So like for those who are watching, they don't know what the Coldie method is. So essentially, you want to talk about it, or you me give my rundown?
Oh, I mean, well, if you want, I'll tell it. I'll tell the story.
Yeah.
So basically, the same thing was happening. Super rare. There'd be an auction, and people place a bid, and then there was no finality to any of this. It was like at a certain point, the artist just had to say, "You get it," and that's fine if there's a bid, and then there's no other bids.
Yep.
You're like, okay, this dude wants it, and there's no one else. Then you get it. But when there becomes like a bidding war and there's escalating prices, who am I to say who gets it? Like, it's not fair to anybody, because then you get into the friendship thing. You get into, oh,
Yeah.
he's a homie, and I was like, that's not how I want to play this game. So I was like, what do I do? And it just kind of, so I started thinking about it, because I figured out kind of what was happening. Somebody would place a bid at let's say like whatever 9 o'clock Eastern. Okay, 9 o'clock Eastern would be a great time, or leaving a little later. 11 o'clock Eastern. So Europe's asleep, and that the other guy who wants it is sleeping right now. So I, as a collector, can swoop in, and maybe Coldie is feeling like he wants to get paid, and he sees this bid pop up, and he's like, "Ooh, hot damn! Like that sounds good, right?" So I saw that, and then I'm sure at some point early on I accepted a bid, and then, like you said, person who was sleeping wakes up and was like, "Oh man, I wanted that," and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit, really?" So then I figured out this global bidding game. I was like, "Okay, fuck that. I am not playing any shenanigans." So I started running manual auctions on Twitter where I said, okay, here's the reserve price. We'll say 1 ETH. You bid 1 ETH. I start the timer. We got the blockchain. It says when it came in. This bid has to stand for 24 hours. And then if there's no new bids, you get it. But if there's a new bid, we reset the clock for a full
24
24
hours.
more.
Yeah.
And that allows everybody to sleep, go to work, take care of their family, whatever, right? And have time to, check on the market, check on pieces, because there wasn't that much going on back then. It was easy to see,
Yeah. You didn't get
pieces.
lost in the shuffle or
Yeah.
conversations
Yeah.
and stuff like, yeah.
Yeah. So it allowed everyone to have an option. It was also great for me as an artist because it gave me a lot more marketing reasons to blow the bullhorn and be like, hey, we got a new bid, right? So now
Yeah.
you're engaging and you're getting the word out there. And then sometimes in that there might be 2 bidders, but let's say 2 more people see the tweet. They're like, oh shit, I want a piece of that. Then you could go from a 2-person bidding war to a 4-person bidding war.
Yeah. You scratched their backs and they scratched yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it was good. I definitely had a couple collectors who were adamantly against this system that I created, and I wrote them and said, um, if you are not willing to let your bid stand, because they wanted to use their money for other stuff. They're like, why am I locking up my money for a day on this bid? I said, well, you know what? I'll tell you one thing. If you don't want to lock up your money for 24 hours of my art, you probably aren't the right collector for this piece. And that's just straight up. Like, I don't care. Like, if you want it, these are the rules of engagement. It's super fair. And if you don't get down with that, then there's lots of other art. It might not be your guy.
Yeah. I dig that. And that's some would say, and like, coming from, if someone doesn't know who you are from a can of paint, it might seem a bit quote unquote privileged to be able to do, like, that is a great situation to be in. Be like,
Yeah.
hey,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
with the one, I really admired, like, because felt like I was preaching this, but then I kind of got caught up in the pixel pushing too, and then started like planning this narrative and whatever. Personally, where I felt like I was kind of like doing derivative work or contrived work, and I was like, wait, I wasn't creating like this before, because it was like apes and fucking penguins and fucking frogs and shit. Two, like, one, what keeps you coming back? Is it the money? Is it the collectors? Is it, and how have you been able to preserve your value this whole time? Because now you have like the rise of like rodeo. I've been experimenting with rodeo a bit, which is a bit interesting because it's like pennies on a dollar for to collect some pieces, but it also is like way better than Instagram because I've never gotten paid $20 for a post on Instagram,
Sure. Yeah,
except a
absolutely.
third party paying me to post on Instagram. So how do you feel about that in regards to collectors? Is that something for you? And also, like, once I got fucked once, I did an open edition on Manifold and I got botted and they like meant to like the bots made more money on my open edition than I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how are you playing, like, to like, is scarcity your play? How do you feel about rodeo? How do you feel about also like leaning into because I know you got the thing with like 50 fiat, and you do speak on crypto culture a bit, but that's not like the baseline of like your creative output, if you will. It's still pushing the narrative. Like, you got the Gensler pieces, which are crypto uh subjects, but your creative isn't just illustrations of these. So how are you navigating scarcity? How are you navigating like platforms like rodeo? What is your input for artists trying to maintain their codiness or their yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the not a cop out answer for part of it is everybody has their own, like, what are you looking to get out of art? I think
Mhm.
that's probably a great way to start. What are you looking for? For me, it's a necessity. Like this has been going on for 15, 20 years. Like, I have to produce things to create just for me. Like a lot of it is therapy. You know, if I'm going through some tough shit and I want to make a piece of art that's like gritty and like get some angst out, that helps me feel better.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that a lot of what I make is um, personal based, even if you looking at it would be like, oh, that's a portrait of Gensler. Okay, it is, right? But I'm angry about how he's fucking us, right? Or maybe I'm going through some personal stuff. I'm working through something, and it's an outlet to be like, you get to kind of use these. We'll use Gensler for example. This piece might not be about Gensler, but has everything to do with angst and needing to
Mm.
flushing out my RAM, right? Like get it out and feel that. And I guess in terms of like scarcity versus um, uh, prolificness or whatever, having lots of it, I think that also is there's different projects for different reasons. So if I do a portrait, it might be a one of one, or maybe it's a limited edition. I've fucked around with a bunch of different ways of doing that. Um, and the game has changed so many different times over, since 2018, that there's not a path. Like there was a go-to method for a couple years, right? When the meta was the same and the collectors were wanted one of ones and scarcity was paramount, right? So for the
Yeah.
longest time I was just doing one of ones. And then in like 2020, I did a 500 edition. It's called Choose Your Own, or not Choose Your Own Measure, Trust Your Intuition.
Mm.
And that I had to think long and hard about that because that blew my token count like 10x. Right? I was like, "Oh, I was like, shit, man, I don't know about this. But but the big takeaway is that um, having abundance with art is very valuable for building community and for getting your art out there to a lot more people who appreciate what you do.
Hmm.
And that leads to more relationships. That leads to more of this thing we've been talking about, right? Where you're just growing and casting a wider net than if you only do one of ones. There might be 20 people who are rolling with one of ones, and those are sitting in vaults, right? And
Yeah.
and do those get shared, right? And um, I've gotten a
Where
lot
no
of
one
enjoyment.
sees those. Yeah.
No one sees them, and like, they might be banging pieces, but this person bought it 4 years ago and they got it in a vault. They're not talking about it, and then it almost starts to like fade away versus um, even like a rodeo, for example. um I have mixed feelings on that in a couple different ways. I think it's good again for building, getting your name out there, having your stuff accessible to everybody. That's great. um Personally, I think that I have personally a hard time with artists. um I'm not gonna say like devaluing their creativity because that's not true, but I think like we're all vulnerable people, artists in general,
Hmm.
and I see a, a slight side of predatoriness where we're looking for validation. We love the dopamine hit of a like or a collection, and that's great. But on the other side of that, what what are you devaluing this awesome thing that you did? And it's not about the money, right? It's just about like um I don't know how to quantify that. Um there's just I don't know.
Do you think the difference is like, so for instance, we post on Instagram, right? And we don't get paid for posting on Instagram whatsoever, but we get quote unquote paid on, let's say, rodeo. But I think it's a difference that it's actually put on chain and it's tracked, and like it shows up in my wallet that I
Yeah.
did these
Yep.
things. And like you talked about the token count, right? Like 500, you went from like 30 pieces, let's say 50 pieces, to 500. So now, for this one collection, where, like, for instance, I did this thing where I was launching events and stuff with tickets to my events on my same creator account, which I don't think I would do if I started over. So like my token count's like in the thousands, and it's
Yeah.
not even about my rare pieces, right? And it's
Yep.
just like, so it's my, so is it the fact that Rodeo tracks the token and is on blockchain, quote unquote, theoretically forever, unless they stop paying that the hosting bill?
Yeah, I mean, it becomes counterparty risk. I mean, it's like you do have to hope they keep paying that, because there's been multiple platforms that have gone down, even up until recently. It's continually happening where, you know, those if those bills don't get paid, then the token is the art and the image isn't there, which is its
Yeah.
own philosophical talk. Um, yeah, it's hard. You know, I think rodeos uh value, if I'm going to take myself out of the equation, like as a collector or even as someone who's appreciating art, would be the network effect. You know, if you're
Hmm.
getting your stuff out there and it's making a positive impact for you, and it's getting you to wherever you want to go, because again, we all have different goals for what we want to do.
Yeah.
If you want to put your whips out there, right, you're like, dude, check out this sick ass sketch I did that would never see the light of day, and that would just become a notebook thing that's gone
Yeah.
forever, and you want that out there, fuck yeah. Like, art is everything, right? Art
Hmm.
could be a cool, a picture you took of the sidewalk where it's cracked and it looks like a cat. I don't fucking know, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. That's fucking
Yeah.
cool, right? I think um I would just, if I was going to put 2 cents out there to like other artists, like, just be cognizant of what and why you are minting in general, right? And just understand that since it's on the blockchain, it is proverbially there forever. And what does that mean? And
Hmm.
it could mean anything to anyone. I guess, yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard
No,
to.
no,
There's so many
I mean,
different.
you saying a word like even the sketches, because like I was like, oh, let me just try to use this to kind of put like a sketch a day, and I can like put it up there. And I also
Yeah,
I put some stuff up there that I meant, where I got botted for my free mint on Manifold. Fuck it, I gave it away for free. Let me just put it on Manifold. It's already on the chain as a free NFT. Let me just see what happens. And I didn't really feel bad, or like my photography, stuff like that. But it is it, like, I looked at it like, for instance, I have some jackets that I made, right? And I did a sketch for jackets. And then, so since there are token IDs and things of that nature, I was going to do it. And the out of X amount of people who bought this token, one of these people can win a free jacket. Like,
yeah, yeah,
I'm kind of, because you already did the conviction of collecting it with real money, so I was trying to look at it a way that could serve me, instead of just like a double tap on Instagram where your
yep,
friends just give you a flame emoji just to support. But on Rodeo, it's like, okay, what if I create a contest where I can give the jacket away for free
sure,
of people that collected it, which now can serve as another channel to create funds for my
yep,
jacket that I
yep,
illustrated. And now it's, yeah. So I was kind of looking at it that
absolutely,
way.
absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's the cool
Man,
thing, because
yeah,
you get it, right? Like, you created the thesis and the hypothesis of like, what do I want to get out of this? And it's that's perfect, right? Like,
yeah,
that's an awesome use of it, because it's low barrier of entry, the chance for something awesome. And now the collectors are thinking about you, right? You're getting into the collective consciousness, and that's winning. Like, you fucking
yeah.
you won right there.
One of the
That's sick.
first,
I
one of
love
the
that.
things, one of the I'm just trying to take pages out of cool people books. One of the early joints when I first got into the space, like I got like my ape for like $250 back in the day. I was like, really, I was like fucking in it. I
Oh
was like,
yeah. Yeah.
I was working at Google, and I was like, when I was in my meetings, I was in Clubhouse with my phone under my pillow, so I couldn't hear it while I was on my fucking calls at Google. But it was really cool, like what Mad Dog Jones did. Because I remember in a space where he was broke as fuck, and then NFTs came and he started going crazy. And he did this one piece where he dropped 100 NFTs for $1. And all these people got these NFTs for $1, and it's like how you in like your collectors, like they like, raise the ties with you. And then he released a limited edition because his one of ones and his limited editions were going crazy at the time. And where people had to burn 10 of the NFTs that were given away for $1 for one of his one of ones. And instantly everybody who had conviction and spent $1 on his NFTs, the floor went up crazy. Like it was like people playing chess, dog, people playing checkers out here, man. Man, that was a time. That was a time. How do you feel? Like, do you feel what is like moving forward? Like, for instance, you, I watched your interview with Gamma to do the Filthy Fiat, and you worked with a developer to create that experience. And you've been, experimenting with technology. I have the way I'm approaching blockchain from my own purview or whatever. What are some of the ways that you're like you say, getting back into the physical things? But what are some of the ways you're looking to the future of blockchain for you as an artist? Are you looking to create like software with blockchain technology, or are you looking to strictly be a full-time artist continuously and just push the narrative on those type of projects? What does the future hold for Coldie?
I mean, kind of along the lines of you were mentioning the Filthy Fiat. I so super quick backstory. It's not quick, but I'll make it fast. Um, okay, so I buried some money in my backyard in case my house burned down, and because I live in fire country, and a couple years later, I
Oh,
dug up the
wait, I'm
box.
gonna stop you. When I tuned into that,
I just went into a rabbit hole.
no, when I tuned into that, I thought you did it as an experiment first. Like you did it as an experiment and you just went to go check on the money just to see how your experiment was going. But you were doing it to like fucking stash fucking money in your mattress for
Yeah,
rainy days. Crazy. Okay,
yeah,
keep going. And
yeah,
rainy
yeah,
day was
yeah,
a
yeah.
pun too, by the way.
Yeah. No, yeah. Rain would have been great that day. Yeah, no, I was a survival tool for IRL. And so I dug the box. AFF, don't bury money. Yeah, we'll get to that. Um, so I dug up the box because I'd never buried money before. And I thought I did a good job. I had, duct tape and bags and I had layers upon layers. I'm like, it should be fine. Well, it wasn't fine. I dug up the box and moisture and, just sediment and shit had found its way in there. And I had like, I think it's hard to tell now because when I pulled out this, there were single bills. So it wasn't like hundreds, but there
Yeah,
was like, a brick of singles and it was a solid mold block. It was just white
crazy.
and fucking furry. And I was like, "Oh shit." So I went to the bank.
Did you
The
have a
bank's
mask on?
like, not at that point. No,
Breathing it
I
all
was,
in.
I was, yeah, it was all great. Yeah. Spur some new ideas, maybe. Um, Went to the bank. Bank's like, you got to get out of here with that biohazard. Um, and the treasury bag, they're supposed to send a bag from the treasury that send my money to. They cut me a new check. The bag never showed up. So I was like, fuck, what do I do? Um, so it dawned on me. I'm like, I'm a collage artist. I'm gonna fucking pull these bills apart and make some art with it. Make back my $200. And that unloaded a whole wonderful experimental generative art project that's now coming to fruition, and it's soon to come out, very very impendingly soon. Yeah, cool. Yeah, filthyfiat.money is the site. Um, and
We
there
prepared
will
over here,
be,
Cody.
yeah, you are. You've been digging. So Filthy Fiat is alive, and there will be a variety of digital releases and physical releases. And if you stop there, so that's like a small splattering of bills that I pried apart with an X-Acto knife, sliding it in there, torquing it just enough to get the bills to separate. And
Oh yeah,
each
I saw
bill,
it.
yeah, click that thing. Yeah. Yeah. So
That's
that's
crazy.
me now with a mask and gloves and being, more
You got a
diligent
hazmat
about my,
suit on.
yeah, I'm coated up there. Um, and that's what I'm getting, right? These are all one of a kind, moldy, generative art made by nature. And I'm deciding what piece of a bill is its own piece of art. And it's been fascinating to go through. And um,
Yeah,
that
you called out
process
a piece
alone,
over here. I think it was this thing. You called out. You noticed something here.
yeah.
Austin,
So like
but here it
okay.
is.
Oh shit,
Oh yeah,
I'll talk over it. Okay, so
yeah.
basically, I'm prying these bills apart, and somehow I still don't know how this happened. The George Washington face got like folded somehow
Oh shit,
in a
yeah.
way, and it's completely flat. I don't know how it happened, but it's the no face George bill. Like there's only one of them that's like that,
Mm,
and so as I'm digging this project apart, you start looking, see that A up there, the seal there.
yeah.
um, there's different regions that all of the bills are released from.
Oh, true.
So now I have traits. I'm learning about these trait collections.
Oh, mine's an L.
The
I
Yeah,
didn't even
yeah. So that's
notice.
for yeah, dude. That's the thing. Like we don't even know what we're holding, right? And it's scary. It's fucking scary, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
so I'm like, so there's an L bill, right? And
yeah.
I live in the West Coast, and that's San Francisco. So there's more L bills floating around our area until they get taken over to, A, which is Boston, right? Now
Oh
I know all the
shit.
federal. So like in real time, I'm looking at metadata, right? That's on the
Yeah.
bills, and I'm creating a collection that is deeper than just these filthy fiat bills. So um, there's going to be a collection of bills. You can collect regional bills. You can start kind of aligning yourself with what you fuck with, right? So let's say you know you live in New York. Well, fuck, I want to get some New York bills because that's how I roll, right? So um, the series will be um, accessible. First of all, we were talking about like one-on-ones versus high volume, right? So I want to have a larger volume of people who just want to have a slice of this story. But if you like the project and you want to go to the next level, then there's ways to, redeem your bills
Oh
and
wow.
get more rare things, right? And so it's creating kind of a tiered system where the I think it's really important for people to be able to choose how they want to be a part of a project.
Are you
You could be
designing
a
all this?
what's that?
Are you designing all of
Uh,
this?
like the coding of it?
Yeah. Like, are you doing
Uh,
this?
no, that's like a pre-made. That's like JavaScript that I'm throwing my picture. I'm not a coder.
Yeah, but I mean, you freaked it, right? I mean, at this point, you
Yeah,
don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I'm the type of guy who, if you show me a tool, I will love to use the tool, and I will think of ways to fuck with it and make it my own. Um,
yeah.
and that's why I love this website. Just the kind of the 3D depth of the parallax of the bills goes back to my 3D art.
So one
Um,
thing I used to share a lot in Clubhouse was like treat your drops like your baby.
yeah,
And then I found like sometimes I would get so I guess not regimented, but so caught up in it that it would take me forever to release art. And then I was like, let me just try to drop some things, so I'm assuming this is more than what you put in your backyard, which is amazing. Uh
Are you talking about the bills themselves?
no, yeah. I said I'm
Oh,
assuming,
that. Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's one big fafo. That was just one big
yeah.
fafo.
So, question. So you drop a couple one of ones through like Christie's, and then you're gonna drop a larger collection.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing, I want to circle back on that, but how important? Because it seems like when you do releases, and I do this for the couple of my drops as well, to treat a release like it's your baby, because you go into that relationship between the artist and the collector. How important is it for you to? It seems like you're creating your own portals for people to get the art, and like when you do your lenticulars and all that type of stuff. What is your thinking process about creating a hub or a portal or a landing to house the thinking and the concept of your releases? Like, how important is that to you for each collection?
It's definitely evolved, right, over the years, because it used to be like kind of one-off ideas, or a series like the decentralized portrait series. It was a series that's ongoing,
Mm,
but as I just get like I have a, I won't call it a problem. I have a propensity of doing lots of things that are all over the place. Like I wrote a
yeah.
book about the gold rush. I fucking did,
What?
yeah, like random shit that I just have done. It's awesome to get the idea out there, but it also like gets me so fragmented in terms of like staying focused that I've
Yeah.
really had to work on finding, like you're talking about all the babies, right? And I it's probably not the best analogy for picking and choosing, but I've had to pick a couple babies, right, to focus on and really harness and see them through so that I can
Mm,
focus on it and really give it my all. So,
yeah.
for Filthy Fiat would be one of those where it's like, okay, this is a larger project that will have a variety of releases. It's an ongoing thing. So having a place that I can stay organized, whether that's a website that just
Hmm.
lets me chronicle that, more for other people too, because I'm fucking all over the place, right? If you could come to Filthy Fiat and at least kind of understand what's coming out, then you can decide easier, like, do I want to be a part of this project?
Yeah. I dig it.
So yeah, so it's been helpful for me to bust out some like microsites. Don't take a super long amount of time to create a microsite, and then it's real, and then it's easier to add a page,
Yeah.
and keep that story going. So, but yeah,
No, I dig it, man. Because I think sometimes, with it seems like NFTs have come back, and which is, like the interest. Because at first there was a lull in collecting. Did you take a break from creating NFTs, or did you just keep going? Right, because you've been here since
yeah, it's
fucking
kept going.
2018. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
same.
I literally uh have to. Like, just because the shit just gets, whether it's my hard drive or my art space, just gets full of shit because I'm just creating. So it's either there's like, there's the mindset of I'm going to wait to release until the market gets hot, which I think is absolutely not the right way to do it, because
No.
everyone's going to have that idea. And imagine when it hits and there's like 4 years of pent up projects that get released. Like the amount of noise alone is going to dilute your saturation, right? You're not gonna be
Oh
able
my
to
God.
catch,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So my mantra is just slow and steady. It's like the turtle and the hare story, where I'm the turtle and I will slowly walk down the road, and the hare is gonna get bored. He's gonna take a nap. He's gonna think he's hot shit because he's out in the lead, and I'm just gonna keep walking, and we'll see who wins that race. And I know how that fable ends. So, um, to me, the things change, right? It was one of ones, and then in the slower times, you do larger collections for less price. Like it doesn't. It's There's ways to find audiences. You just have to be
Mm,
nimble and not be, at least in my opinion, so like stuck on like, this is my floor price. I have to protect and I have to, it's like building a fucking wall around it. Like, meh, it's just not the way the world works. And if there's a collector who's buying when everything is cheaper because they have a longer term horizon, hell yeah. Like that's why we're here. Like, good job. Welcome back. And I think over the course of my creative career, knock on wood, I still have 40 years in me, right? If over the course of that time, the slow and steady, keeping the art always at, again, if I'm not scared, I'm not doing it right, keeping at that level, that is how I continue to just keep going and experimenting.
Man, Coldie, bruh. You have dropped gems. I think you even gave insight to the history. Not, I think, I know you gave insight to history where people were just so oblivious that blockchain even existed, and you were over there just clicking buttons, opening doors, just frolicking in a land of nowhere. No one was of zeros and ones. No one was of the wiser, right? And then just to continue to have conviction today, we got 2 minutes. I know you got family stuff, life stuff to do. Got some dope art, I'm sure, to come on the horizon. What are some of the things that people should look out for? Things you want to plug before we get off on here? And thank you so much for offering your time for this conversation, artist to artist.
Well, this is just fun to do. I'm glad you're doing this. This is I can't wait to hear the next ones you have coming up. This is just so kudos to you for taking the initiative and doing this. So, hats off. I think it's awesome. And you're fun to talk with. I mean, we were shooting the shit for hours IRL. So I just love talking to you.
Likewise.
In terms of what I'm doing, the big focus right now is Filthy Fiat. I've been developing multiple collections, the physical magnetic art. I'm super fucking amped on. That will be coming out in the near term. And besides that, like, culture happens. The crypto space is wild. I randomly, well, not randomly, but I create a portrait of Trump, and I'm not like an overtly political person, right? So there's always like, I never was like, oh, I can't wait to do a Trump piece. I can't wait to do a Trump piece. But what I can tell you is, in this space, people raise their own hands and they do things that have a ripple effect outward, right? And in this respect, Trump, and I don't get down with everything with Trump. We'll make that clear. But what I do get,
I had that question earlier, but we were on such a vibe. Go ahead, you brought it up. So
I mean, like, like what I do get down with are pushing the narrative of crypto as an important thing that the normie world should be aware of, and that creates the ripple that I think will help, let's hope, push this space in a positive place. The Trump meme coin, obviously I have just no comment on that, but the absurdity that a president would release a meme coin just got me. I was like, oh shit, you motherfucker raised your hand. So like, when you raise your hand, you come into the decentralized portrait series. So he raised his hands and said, all right, motherfucker, like, come on in. You did it. So I made a 1 of 1 of that. And it's flashing, a couple different words like fake news, crypto president, and you could play with those words. You could have crypto president, fake president, crypto news. There's a lot of plays on words going in there, because I just wanted it to be like a time and a place, and this thing happened. And I like to make art that is reacting to society and culture. So, all that being said, I have my projects, but then I also will drop things when it's like called out. When it speaks to me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a portrait right now, and I didn't have that on my agenda. But there's And that's funny. It was like, um, yeah. There's the piece I did for DJT, and it found a great home. Raul Paul um, saw it and liked it and brought it into the culture
I want to
vault,
follow him. Nice.
um, which was awesome because he's like, we had to talk about it. He's like, man, I wasn't sure if this was. He's like, I've been looking at your stuff. And I was interested in getting a piece, and when you look at it and it's not the larger version, it's just the face. And he's like,
Mhm.
oh, But then when it popped with the typography on there, it has a whole different context of what is going
Yeah.
on, right?
It's
So
not necessarily glorifying him as an
yeah,
individual, as a commentary. Because I was curious about that. I was like, hmm. I
yeah,
knew it was a risky thing, and I knew you couldn't
oh
necessarily
yeah,
like when I watched it, I was like, you can't really ignore it. And I clicked and I saw the fake news thing too as well. So I was like, oh, interesting.
yeah. And that's the thing. Is like, I'm not political. I'm not trying to be like, you know, repping MAGA and going like, to each their own. Like I don't care. And as art, I'm not a political guy. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I was like, I'm not going to hold back from doing a statement about the culture,
No, for
right?
sure. No.
So it was like I did think about that. But at the end of
I
the
mean,
day,
you
I'm like,
cannot
art,
not think about it. So
yeah, yeah. But at the end of the day, like I think art has to be an expression of the totality of our lives. And if I can create a piece that isn't even about me or my feelings, and I can create it in a way that, like or dislike, this is um, a scrapbook entry into crypto art culture. That's all it is,
yeah.
and I'm happy with the way it came out.
You dropped it on ETH. How did you sell this?
That was a manifold
Wow,
101.
nice. Manifold is such a game changer. Um, damn man, this has been great. I
Yeah, this
appreciate
is
you, dog.
awesome. Yeah, I'd love to come back. I love shooting the shit.
Yeah, maybe because I have a couple in the chamber, some other artists that you are, I'm sure you're aware of. After I do like maybe I don't know 10 of them, maybe I'll do like a group of 3 people to have
Yeah,
an
whatever you
artist,
want. Yeah,
3 artist conversation or something,
yeah,
Coldie, man, appreciate you for joining me for this hour. It's been amazing. We talked about all the ins and outs of us being artists on chain and off chain. I wish you nothing but the best. Feel free to hit me up if you got any type of things you want me to circulate or check out, or you just like working on something. I love working progresses. Maybe we can create that type of relationship because I would love to just kind of get your mind on some of the things I'm building as well. Um,
absolutely. Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man.
Open door. I love. I just love. Like I said, I love talking to you. You have great vibes.
Uh-huh.
And that's the thing is we came together at this tech conference in our little art bubble, and I found a new homie, and that's like a fucking great takeaway. So um, yeah, I'm stoked.
Hell yeah.
I love being here, dude. I appreciate you. You
Sounds
keep doing
good.
all you're doing. I've been staring at that piece behind you. It's a banger. Um,
Thanks.
it's awesome.
Thank you, man. I need to start releasing some of my paintings on chain, just like the photos of them or my
Sure.
my time lapses or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Again, why
Yeah.
am I minting in the first place? Coldie, I'll catch you on the internet, catch you in IRL. Thanks for joining me for my first artist to artist conversation. Catch you in the traffic, man. Peace.
Cool. Cool, man. Peace.
Yep.